right, welcome everybody to the comic panel. I'm Cody.
I'm Jacob.
I'm Shawenta.
And today we are discussing Wonder Woman Earth 1, Volume 1, written by Grant Morrison and art by Yanick Paquette, colors by Nathan Fairbairn, and letters by Todd Kleen. And Wonder Woman created by William Moulton Marston. So, Jake, you chose this book.
I did.
And you want to tell us a little bit about why you chose it and what it's about?
Yeah. So, Earth One, for anybody who doesn't know, is like a sort of like a retelling of superheroes' origins. Like, there's a Batman Earth One, Superman Earth One. They are mostly unconnected to other outside continuities. They're usually a nice entry point into a character if you have no idea anything else about them. I've read Batman Earth One. I really liked that. At least like the first volume. Superman volume Earth One, I've heard good things about. So it's kind of, this is what I thought Spawn was going to be when I picked it up, where it's like this is a retelling, sort of disconnected from stuff, but it's a kind of nice starting point, and it'll tell a nice story. And you're like, okay. So for Wonder Woman, I've not read a lot of Wonder Woman comics, so pick it up, check it out. I didn't know it was by Grant Morrison at first, and so that was interesting. I'm like, oh, Grant Morrison, I like Grant Morrison stuff.
Yeah.
And then actually reading through it, it's not what I expected. I mean, it is still like a retelling of an origin, mostly unconnected. I don't know how accurate it is to other origins.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't say I like it as much as Batman Earth One. That's for sure.
Yeah, because what I was gonna say is that Earth One, my understanding is it is one of DC's many attempts and answers to Marvel's Ultimate Universe, kind of. And not so much in creating a whole another universe for people to follow as much, but just like you said, kind of updated origins that are a little bit edgy though too at the same time.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it's definitely a lot later. I think Ultimates was early 2000s, and Batman Earth One, which I believe came out in like 2012.
Oh, okay.
But it is definitely in that same vein where it's like, if you don't know anything, but you want to know a little more about the character, check out Earth One, because it's not going to be connected to anything.
Right. Yeah.
This is different. Because, man, it's just weird. It's a weird in medias res telling of like Diana, real name of a woman is Diana, I guess.
Yeah, Diana Prince.
In a weird trial by the Amazons for sheltering a man who washed up on the beaches of Themyscira. And so the story is just telling, like, she stole a purple ray and kind of what a purple ray is, because she... okay, the order of events is unclear. I'll be honest.
I mean, I get it. Like, they're having their usual, is it yearly tournament? What is it, where they recreate like the Hercules thing?
Yes.
So the fact that they made the Amazon island was because the world of man, we must retreat from it. It's gross, whatever.
Gross is a word for it.
Yeah.
And they just
Boys
keep
have cooties.
reliving for like, what, 3,000 years?
I believe so.
I mean, pretty much nobody dies. They're drinking from the fountain of youth, which you don't find out towards the end. They're just existing, and then they just keep having this tournament where they recreate the event, retell the event of Hercules versus Hippolyta, right?
Hippolyta?
Yeah, Hippolyta.
Hippolyta.
Whatever.
Yeah, Hippolyta.
Yeah. Hippolyta. Okay. Which is Diana's mom. And of course, Diana's like, oh, well, I'm made from clay. That's what her mother told her. I'm made from clay and given life by the gods, and thus is a lot stronger than any of the Amazon women.
I mean, it's kind of a poor excuse, but I mean, for Hippolyta's purposes, is like, don't let Diana, like,
Know the
just
truth.
beat on other Amazons all day. It makes sense.
Well, so she's never allowed to enter the tournament. So what does she have to do instead? She has to. I didn't realize this was part of the tournament. I thought she was just like wreaking havoc, where she puts on the lion mask.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
I was
pretends
like,
to be
that's
Hercules.
just yeah. So she has to always play the part of the villain during the tournament as Hercules. I was like, that's just Diana. Like her face is there's no mask. You guys can see that's Diana, right? And then by the end, she's supposed to challenge the like winner or the person who's at the top, the lady who's at the top, who's going to win the tournament. You're supposed to challenge her as Hercules, and then give in or whatever. Right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
weird.
'cause it's a reenactment. It's
Mhm.
you're not supposed to change the events.
Right.
And I think your mom strangled him to death. Don't think he gave in. Kissed the other person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but then Diana, calls an audible and beats up the winner and goes on, runs
Yeah.
away because she wants to be different. And her
Okay,
mom's not
so
letting her
she
be
she
different.
wins, right? She wins, which means she gets to go. Now you have to give me something as the tournament winner. I want the previous tournament winner's ship,
Mm-hmm.
which also happens to be her lover, question mark,
Yes.
girlfriend.
Yes.
Yeah, that just kind of dropped in there. Don't worry about it.
Mhm.
I didn't see any proof of that. They didn't hang out.
Well, but they called each other lover, so that's fine.
Yeah.
Once she beat her in a tournament. But you love me. Yeah, so she uses the ship to take the man to the human world. I mean, just back to man's world, whatever it is.
So that was
Off the island,
a
right?
plane crash victim, military, Steve Trevor. We didn't introduce him at all.
Well, you said he washed up on the shore.
Oh, did we? Did I
I mean,
miss
that's what
that?
Jake
think
said.
briefly.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
he washed up on shore
I
because he
missed you
was
saying that.
piloting a experimental aircraft.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Sorry, I missed that. So it was like, whoa.
I can't remember if it's experimental aircraft or ran into the hurricane, which caused the plane crash. Was it the hurricane or was it that it was an experimental airplane?
A little bit of both.
I don't think he was gonna get there anyway. Like
Yeah,
they have a
'cause,
lot of.
I mean, I kind of thought that maybe the military was trying to find the secret in the Bermuda Triangle, which I think is Paradise Island.
Well, yeah, because it was I guess there were secret transmissions from the Nazis from World War II about this weird transmission that they got in the Bermuda Triangle,
Mm-hmm.
and they were investigating that in the year like 2016 for some reason.
Better check this out.
Yeah. but
Using
it's-
our experimental brand new spanking $100 million aircraft.
well, they
Yeah, now
couldn't-
that it's been 75 to 80 years, now's the time to check out these mysterious transmissions.
I don't think it's specifically in the Bermuda Triangle, right?
No,
'Cause
it is.
I think isn't the Amazon island supposed to be more towards Europe, isn't it?
It's magic.
Yeah, it's magic.
Okay, but like I think he compares it to the Bermuda Triangle because he's like it's such an anomaly.
Okay,
I don't think he
I
says
could've-
it's the Bermuda Triangle.
I may have misinterpreted that when I saw the Paradise Island and Bermuda Triangle. I could have conflated those two. That's fair.
No, are we just if Diana wanted to walk off the island, would she just be in like the Caribbean or something?
I think it's more fun to say it's the Bermuda Triangle.
The Bermuda Triangle.
Well, that's why I thought that it was important that he had the experimental plane, because I thought that it was like heavily guarded by magic, basically.
I mean, it is, but that doesn't mean it has to be the Bermuda Triangle.
Okay, that's, yeah, true. I don't know then. I don't know.
Yeah, no, he runs into their magical defenses. Like,
Yeah.
you're not supposed to leave the island. You're not supposed to enter the island.
Hmm.
Everything's perfect. Why would you want to leave? And so Diana, God, I wish she would stop calling it her purple ray. That's so weird.
That's just what it's
She's like,
called.
my purple ray won't heal this man. And so that's why she had to take him off the island to a hospital.
Hmm. Which, spoilers for the end, but it turns out it just needed to be recalibrated for men.
I guess there's a
Okay.
switch, or
Yeah.
As they say, Diana, no one can handle the purple ray like you can. Like, it's a ray. What's she doing?
Yeah. Not a lot of explanation about how any of it works or why or
It's
yeah.
magic.
It's magic. Yeah.
I just need to recalibrate my magic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it has no, like, she used it to heal a deer previously from the island,
Yeah.
which she has to heal every 100 years. That damn dumb deer.
I mean, to be fair, like as far as like deer are not smart animals. If it's only getting hurt enough to require purple rays every 100 years, that's pretty good.
I guess.
But I guess there also aren't like a bunch of cars flying around, so
Yeah.
deer probably don't get hurt as often.
Yeah. It is that did stick out to me too, where it was very weird that every 100 years the same deer. I'm like, you have some sort of like ritual, like suicide pact deer? Like
Like, yeah, every 100 years he tries to die,
yeah.
but they won't let him.
I think it's just that it takes 100 years for the deer to forget the last time I jumped off this cliff, it really sucked.
Yeah, maybe something's down there now.
Gotta check it out. Yeah, so she ends up she goes to the hospital, which I don't know how she figured that out, man. She just takes him straight to a hospital.
Yeah. Also, like for like whole 1/3 of the story where she's not on Paradise Island, she is just speaking a different language and cannot understand English.
Yeah. I mean, she kind of learns some English
She
pretty quickly too.
Oh yeah, she definitely learns it quickly, but she like basically learns Steve Trevor's name and not much else.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I think she's just speaking ancient Greek around to people, and then like surprised they don't know, like
Yeah.
they don't understand her.
Mm-hmm. And
And
then
Diana's just in the hospital, like, I can help. You guys have purple rays, right?
Where's
And
the
they're like,
purple ray machine? Why
they're
aren't
like,
you guys using your
"Please,
purple
please."
rays?
yeah.
They tell her to leave. They're like, yeah, you gotta leave, ma'am. And then she just wanders into another
Yeah,
place.
because she's just causing a whole bunch of disturbances, like barging into people's rooms, like. And to be fair, is kind of like
Specialist.
comforting some patients, I guess.
She
It's like
holds
people
the
think she's an
hand of a
angel,
dying woman. Yeah.
which, like, I guess. I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, I've never been like on my deathbed, so I don't know how I'd react if somebody appeared in front of me. But man, it's
I
probably
mean,
not great. Just somebody barging in.
she's supposed to be incredibly attractive, incredibly fit, incredibly healthy, or whatever, because she's from the island, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
if a supermodel walked into your room as you were dying,
I mean, probably fair. I probably think I was hallucinating, but
Yeah. And then
yeah, so she's really upset by being in the hospital and seeing women dying, which she's never seen before. And then she gets confronted by the military when she tries to leave.
yeah, who just kind of show up. Like it was very fast for them to just kind of show up, even if the hospital knew it was Steve Trevor and knew he was like a missing military person. Like them showing up, like in the amount of time is unclear, but it does feel like it's like 25 minutes, maybe.
She also didn't show any like threats. She didn't show that she was super powerful. So the hospital staff could have just thought she was just like a lady
Yeah,
who found him.
yeah, some cosplayer who just showed up.
Well, then she just like lifts a jeep, and they're kind of like, okay, we'll just back
Yeah, now
off a
that's a
little.
problem. We can't really handle this. This is
They watch her like push an army man to the side like it's nothing, and they don't do anything. Like they all have their guns drawn.
yeah, it's sort of unclear what the military really wants to accomplish here, other than allow Diana like a place to practice her speech about how man is bad.
Doesn't she say they look to me like girls? Yeah, yeah, this is the part where she's like, these men aren't women, they're girls.
Yeah, it's
Never heard the word boy before.
Sweet, youthful, round faces.
Very funny.
Yeah, they just let her get into like an alien aircraft.
Yep.
And then she leaves.
Yeah.
oh yeah, she leaves and then is
Saves a
on
sorority
on foot
group.
again for the bus to fall off the road for her to catch. Don't know when that happens.
Okay, so it's supposed to be like, her mom, I'm not gonna try to say her name again. Diana's mom sends like a hurricane and like bad weather to like because Diana left the island. It's a warning. And then she's gonna send Medusa, right?
Yeah, but I don't know how Diana was supposed to know that. Like the hurricane, okay, yeah, sure, that's sent by Hippolyta, but unclear if she was supposed to know if Medusa was coming or not.
No, definitely
that
not.
like-
That she
It's a
curses her
surprise.
mom and is surprised when she sees the stone people for the first time.
I guess it just seems like a big step in escalation where it's like I'm gonna send bad weather, and also I'm gonna send something that turns people to stone irreparably.
Actually, it's bad weather, her finest warriors, and then a monster that turns people into stone.
But I guess she never fights the finest warriors though. It's just like
Okay, I mean, she sends Medusa first, and that's like the warning. And then the finest warriors come in. She, you know,
Oh.
I was gonna say secedes.
no, she surrenders.
Yes, that's the word. Um, Before that happens, though, I have to say, like, she does this big hurricane thing, right? And like that's why the sorority bus like goes off the bridge, and Diana has to save them. What about the other people affected by the weather who Diana didn't save?
We didn't see it, so it's all fine.
Yeah. So then Diana goes back to the hospital with like the sorority, right?
Oh yeah, because I think some of them got hurt, so I guess we're just going back to the hospital. I guess.
Back to see, Steve Trevor. She was like, "I have questions. How did you get to Paradise Island? Because I got to bring more people there."
It seems like you should have asked that question first, like how you got to Paradise Island.
Then the army's like, "Well, we're gonna arrange a hotel for all of you people to stay in." And then we get the collar part.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the collar and the makeover, which is
Plot
Hmm.
point.
I don't know. I mean, I don't feel good about it, but I don't know what the intent of it was. Like, is
Okay.
it just supposed to be like, oh, Diana is naive and she doesn't know? Because like that would kind of
I
make
think
sense.
it's supposed to be, as the sorority girl says, it goes like, "Oh, you're from an island that's full of like all women with a side of bondage," which I'm like, I didn't see any of that, but I'll take your word for it. I think, as Diana says, she's like, "Oh, it's like the highest honor is to like bow before a loving authority."
Yeah, submit
So like,
to a loving authority.
yeah, submission is like an honor. So she's like, "I was giving him an honor. I don't understand why he thought it was weird that I gave him a collar."
Yeah. Yeah.
it's just weird. Like, I think it's just weird.
What if you were the bellhop who was asked to get that?
I mean, hey, if the government is paying the bill for whoever these weirdos are, just don't ask questions.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're gonna get frozen by a Medusa or something.
Like, let's be honest, he probably did. He probably got frozen by Medusa.
And honestly, yeah. Now thinking about it, I think Steve Trevor is the only one who gets unfrozen by the end of this. So,
Yeah. I mean,
I mean, they
I
they say they're
assume.
gonna
Probably
do the
not great.
rest.
Yeah.
oh, do they? Okay, I must have missed that.
Unimportant.
Yeah.
And then yes, it just kind of does the makeover part.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't think her costume's that different than what it starts out as. I was
Okay,
like,
she's wearing pants to be fair, and then she's wearing just a halter top. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Pretty much. Like, yeah, it goes from, because, like, yeah, she's pretty much, they
the
take
boots
off,
too. She gets the different boots.
yeah, different boots, and she gets, yeah, instead of like the bird that's on her chest, it's like, strings on the, what's it called? Wow, why can't I think of that piece of clothing?
And she calls it a majorette suit.
Majorette suit.
I think
I
that's
don't
like
know.
I think that's a marching band thing.
Yeah.
It's like a skimpy version of that.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, it's a hazing. It's like what are you gonna do next? Put her in a bikini? Like,
Yeah.
and then they just put lipstick on her. Which like that part was so funny to me at the beginning where she's like going to the trial and they're like, what's on your face? And I was like, what is on her face? Apparently it was lipstick and it's scandalous.
Yeah. Also, they must have painted her nails, I just realized, but they don't actually show that. But yeah, she doesn't have painted nails, obviously, because why would they have nail polish on Paradise
Yeah.
Island? And then she does have painted nails.
Yeah, she's shown without painted nails.
Yeah.
And then they paint her nails.
I just didn't realize that detail on the first read through.
And she's like, oh man, I gotta go apologize to Steve Trevor.
Yeah, because I probably freaked him out.
Yeah.
Good thing I had this breather for both of us to really think about things. But too late, Medusas came and like froze a bunch of people.
Yeah. Wonder Woman's mad about it.
The sorority girl being like, I'm calling reinforcements. Reinforcements against Medusa?
Yeah.
And then, yeah, that's pretty much the part where Diana just surrenders
Mm-hmm.
to a fair trial.
Yeah. Which it seems like they were like pretty mad about that she even like did that. Like they wanted her to fight, basically.
I guess it is kind of weird from their perspective. Like, she went to all this work to pretend to be somebody else, to fight to get off Paradise Island, to run away, and she wouldn't come back for the magic hurricane. But now that we're here and ready to fight, now she's not going to fight? Like, oh man, dude, we got all ready. This is like everybody else's first time off Paradise Island. Is like not even going to fight about it?
It's really funny when she's kneeling in front of Mala because they're both wearing like the same kind of boots. It's like, was that really Diana's new makeover boots? Just custom made on Amazon Island.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they export some stuff they make. I don't know.
Yeah. Also, it is kind of funny that it's like all of them are like basically the warriors that come and arrest her, basically like the different Wonder Girls that have been.
Yeah, I think I saw Donna Troy.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know the redhead's probably Artemis.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm. And then Nubia, of course, and I don't know who the first Wonder Girl was. I don't remember her name, but she was blonde. That's the important distinction between the four of them.
I mean, I am blanking on the blonde's name, to be fair.
Yeah.
I also don't remember. Oh, no, Cassie? Something?
Yeah,
I
Cassie.
want to say?
Yep, you're right.
But yeah, then they all go back, and now we're sort of caught up to the
Yeah.
timeline where it's like, this is where the trial started after they went back to Wonder Island. Or, yeah, Paradise Island, not Wonder Island.
Yeah.
So
they
then we get
unfreeze Steve Trevor.
Yeah, unfreeze Steve Trevor to also, oh, what's the word? Kind
Be a
of,
witness.
yeah, be a witness on her behalf.
He gets to be on trial too with everybody else.
I guess.
Why don't we
they
bring
ask,
the
like,
army men?
oh, yeah. It gets like, yeah, what's the deal? Why'd you try to come to Paradise Island? Who sent you? Did you tell anybody? So I guess that kind of makes sense. Although they were going to go without all that information if Diana didn't bring him back and try to unfreeze him, which they weren't about to do.
Yeah. Also, the trial is being watched over by the three fates. Seems like an important detail, kind of.
Sorta? I don't know.
Just kind of talk.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, they do foreshadow at the beginning. They're like, at the end of this tale, somebody will die. They say it more mysteriously, so maybe I misinterpreted them.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they're kind of right because Hippolyta decides like I'm gonna give up being, queen of Paradise Island.
Like, I'm gonna go out to the normal world and die, and they're like, you're not allowed to do that. As queen, you have to be in submission to us, the island, and your people, right?
It seems like a big step from, because we also find out, Hippolyta tells Diana where she really came from, which is from Hercules and
mother. So she's like an actual kid.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that also quarter demigod, so it's like that's why she's super strong, I guess.
Oh yeah, and like Hercules' blood is why she's being like all rebellious.
Mm.
And it's like, okay, I guess that kind of makes sense. But I don't know what you really wanted to accomplish by not telling her all these years.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's unclear. It's like, did you think she was gonna be more rebellious because she knew? Because it didn't seem like not telling her made her less rebellious.
She says, she's like, I created you to be a weapon, and then I loved you so much I didn't want you to be that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, I guess more of Diana proved her wrong with how much her capacity for love.
Yeah. And then, yeah, pretty much like you guys said at first, man, I can't say her name now. Diana's mom, the queen, she is like, oh yeah, I'll stop being queen and I'll go to man's world and, you know, die there. Basically.
Well, it's sort of like disgrace, right? You
Yeah.
know, she lied to everybody. She didn't tell them that she wanted to. She wasn't interested in creating a paradise so much as she was going to eventually wage war on like man's world.
Mm-hmm. But then Nubia is like, this decision is not yours to make. Blah blah blah. It's the fates have already written your destiny. And so, yeah, Wonder Woman is like, well, I'm going to go back to man's world. Yeah, if there are fights, I will win them, but I won't be a weapon or a warrior. Let me be more. That's what she says. And the fates pretty much like that.
It's like, yep, go ahead and do it. I guess that's your destiny.
Mm-hmm.
and then we see Diana go to man's world, and then the book just kind of ends.
Yeah.
She's gonna have a talk. She's gonna have a TED talk or something. I don't know. Solve everything.
I was, man, I was so surprised when I like tried to go to the next page and it was like, here's some sketches and some alternate
The
covers, and I'm like,
end.
wow, wait, how long was this? Like, the book itself is like less than 150 pages, and like there's like 18 pages of like here's some sketches and covers and stuff. So it's like,
Yeah.
man, there's only like 130 pages worth of plot in this.
Mm-hmm.
This is
Less
It's
than
literally
that.
like 128.
Yeah.
like this is short, which I mean isn't bad, but I
Mhm.
mean it's also
Yeah.
it's
I read it in
it's
one
short
day.
for a book, but it's long for an origin.
Yeah. Yeah. Very decompressed. Well, actually, yeah. Yeah. That's how I'd say it. All right. So, things that we liked about the book then. I felt like there's some good humor.
Yeah, somewhat. Some of it landed, some of it didn't. I
Mhm.
didn't love all of it,
Felt
but
a lot of
we
times
already
the actual humorous parts were kind of unintentional. Like the face Diana makes when she is using that purple ray on Steve Trevor towards the end.
Wait, I gotta
She
see
is
now.
too happy.
Hold on. I have to see it.
I mean, it's during the trial. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She's like,
Wow. I didn't notice that. It's
I
like
was like, well, there, Diana.
some intense joy.
You were saving a man from death, yes, but he's also in a lot of pain because of you.
Yeah.
So much for guilt.
Has to cough up
I
some
think I
mud.
liked yeah, a lot of the parts that were like humorous were unintentionally to me, at least. I think I liked how they set up I mean, I think I've read origin stories of Wonder Woman before. I don't remember which ones, but I liked this one because it set up the whole thing of like the continuous island pretty interestingly.
Mm.
Or just I mean like where she's talking about, the same deer jumps off this cliff every 100 years. Nobody ages, nothing changes. They're forced to do the same tournament over and over, play acting life kind of, nothing changes, nothing progresses.
Yeah.
yeah, that does remind me of something I like too. Is like I feel like I understand the character of Diana in this. It's like why she doesn't feel fulfilled on this island, and even when she leaves, like I feel her being naive is done pretty well in this. So
Mm-hmm.
I did like that. At least like yeah, Diana and probably Hippolyta's character I I liked pretty well. Other characters less so.
Yeah. Um.
Yeah, on that note, like the whole reveal of like, oh, you just Hercules' daughter,
Yeah, just
along
Hercules' daughter.
along with her mother's. You come from a man, crazy enough. Uh, and just being that whole feeling of almost betrayal of I raised you to be a machine, not a machine, to be a weapon, training you to battle. Although it's kind of a little bit mixed there, where it's like, you were drawn to battle because of Hercules' blood, but also I was raising you because I was enraged against man's world, and you were going to take revenge for me, kind of.
Yeah. Like, I mean,
Yeah, the kind of misguided.
yeah, it's like, was that always the intention since, like, she realized that she was pregnant? Or was it like, you're pretty, like, into battling. Maybe I'll.
Oh yeah, Diana as a child picking up a sword.
Yeah.
It's like man, it seems like she loves to battle.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with the whole thing of like Diana being forced to, she can't even take part in the tournament because she's too powerful. Um,
To be
and
fair,
so
it would be unfair if she competed because she's like quarter god and the rest of them
yeah,
are
yeah.
not.
But also to be so first of all, okay, like that's understandable. But then she is forced to take part in the tournament, but as a play acting as the villain every single time as Hercules. She doesn't know it's her father, technically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just gonna kiss my girlfriend while I pretend to be my dad. A little weird.
It's no, it's her dad.
I know, but it's also weird. Like, cause like, what is it? They despise man, right? And Hercules is the greatest villain,
Mm-hmm.
at least in their mythology. So
Right.
just yeah, pretend to be him for a little bit.
I mean, but
We need
it's
someone to fight.
yeah, it's it's for reenactment, so like it's fine.
Yeah. No, I mean I get that though. Like if like for some reason your family was like really into Civil War reenactment, but you had to be like what's his name? Like
Oh, like Stonewall Jackson or
yeah,
somebody.
yeah. Like like sorry, it's
I'm gonna be Grant always.
yeah.
It's like, yeah, I guess that would be kind of weird.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're also Greek, so I mean, a very dramatic people.
Mm. Yeah.
It is a very good example of how they will not move on.
Yeah, this is also true.
Yeah.
Except for like the magic planes and the magic healing rays, and honestly, the part that threw me the most, the kangaroos.
Oh yeah, kangaroos are just well, they're not technically like they're not Australian kangaroos, right? Cuz you can like ride them, but those have always been part of like Wonder Woman lore.
Yeah, I guess it's just like it's just weird and like I know they're there because of their place in Wonder Woman mythology, but like if you didn't know, there are just like a bunch of big, I guess, Greek marsupials around.
Be real, I didn't look too close at what they're riding, so I never noticed the kangaroos.
Oh, okay. Well then, I guess my point is invalid.
Yeah, I think I represent the average audience, right? I didn't look at those kangaroos.
Oh. Yeah, I mean I like the kangaroos. I think they're cool.
Like I didn't hate them. Don't get me wrong. Like I'm glad they were there,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a weird touch.
Yeah.
Gotta ride something. What are they gonna do? Ride horses? Everybody does that.
Yeah.
I guess that's too mainstream. Can't be
All right,
horses.
we do have to reboot the Wonder Woman movies. Actually, there are no kangaroos. They do ride on horses, and that's dumb.
Yeah. Oh, that's the dumb part.
Yes.
Of the Wonder Woman movies.
Oh, I need them CGI riding kangaroos.
Right? Like I didn't realize what I was missing, but now I do.
This is a question for a different time, but where did the kangaroo come from originally?
I feel like it has to be William Marston. I think
It has to be.
Yeah.
But I don't know where, because like I may be wrong, but aren't kangaroos like native to Australia and like nowhere else?
Yeah. That's correct.
And Australia and Greece are pretty far apart.
Yes. Yeah.
So like, where's the overlap? Where's that coming from?
The overlap.
I don't understand.
The overlap is that they're exotic animals, and
They're cool.
But sounds like a zebra,
yeah,
and a zebra could theoretically make it to Greece.
right. But William Marston was not a professor of geology. He was a professor of psychology, but like not a very good one either.
I mean, hey, we're not here to talk trash about a man's doctorate, all right? The man's dead.
Kangaroos
Let's know
represent
why.
something.
Huh? Oh.
If a kangaroo shows up in a book, am I supposed to be like, oh, this is like this is a symbol of something?
Yeah, actually that does make a lot of sense. Not that they particularly represent anything, but it's like
Kangaroo symbolism in dreams.
Hold on. I'm just saying though that they like, marsupials are probably seen as like, maternal basically with the whole like pouch and stuff like that.
I guess. Okay. Yeah, that's I'm not gonna say that's nothing. That's something.
Thank you. I appreciate
There's
that.
something there.
Why is the kangaroo the symbol of Australia? To symbolize the nation moving forward, as the animal cannot move backward easily.
Hmm. That's one of those things you hear. It's like, oh yeah, cows can't go like downstairs. It's like, why not? Hold on, doesn't make sense. Why not?
Well, it makes sense why kangaroos like they just hop.
The legs are really
Have
yeah,
you-
their legs are probably
turn
really good
around.
for jumping forward.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
yeah.
yeah, but that's not going backwards. That's just turning around, right?
Yeah, that's going
I
forwards
guess.
a different
I don't
direction.
know. I feel like we're losing the plot here a little bit.
Well,
We're getting distracted.
you asked why the cows
I mean, we
couldn't go
figured
down
it
the
out, right?
stairs. Yeah,
It's about moving forward.
yeah,
But they're stuck in the past, literally.
yeah. I think it's because they're a maternal animal, and William Marston didn't really care that much about that
It's like,
particular
yeah,
factor.
it's fine. Kangaroos.
Yeah.
All right.
Might as well be something.
Yeah, I mean, it had to be something, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Should have done hippos. It's my opinion.
Hippos would have been interesting.
Yeah. But like, how do you change a hippo? Really, you theoretically could ride hippos.
You could ride a hippo now. That's true.
Yeah, but this is like a special kangaroo magic.
It's just bigger, though. It's not like that, but it didn't have like 6 arms or something. It's just bigger.
Well, that would be ridiculous.
Oh, that's ridiculous. Them riding around on a larger than average kangaroo, that's fine.
Yeah,
But it having 6 arms magically, that's too much?
yeah. I
Is
mean,
it still about things we like? We really like the kangaroos, I guess.
all right, fine. Yeah.
I liked it as a nod to greater Wonder Woman mythology, and then we
Mhm.
got stuck in the weeds on like where it came from.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that's like super Wonder Woman mythology?
The invisible plane,
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
which
The purple ray?
I don't know if that's strictly Wonder Woman though, because
yeah.
I've heard that used in other DC comics, not with Wonder Woman. So I don't think it's just her. It could be like a Paradise Island thing, I guess. We talked about the other Wonder Girls, and that was kind of a nice touch.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they don't do anything.
Yeah, they really don't do anything, do they?
We
It's
really
kinda
don't get
there.
any fight scenes in this story.
Oh, you didn't
Interesting.
like the play acted fight with Hercules? That's oh yeah, fake Hercules.
They're just supposed to kiss and make up at the end.
Yeah. Also, I looked up the Purple Ray. Its first appearance was Wonder Woman #1, June 1942.
Oh,
Knew it had to be in there.
Yeah.
Why did I care about this thing so much?
And
did it look like a big sci-fi camera then too?
yeah, actually kind of. It looks kind of like it looks like a big circle and then purple, and they're like holding on to handlebars. Actually, that's probably a more modern image of it though that they're using for the wiki page, but not the original 1942 panel. But apparently, yeah, Diana invented it herself, and it was created in the hospital on Science Island.
Okay.
Yeah. Which apparently there's
Part of their
multiple islands, I think. It's like a paradise archipelago.
only allowed to do science on Silence Island.
Yeah.
Science.
Silence Island. Can't talk there.
Just one big library.
The lab is.
Um. Anyway, yeah, I feel like this is going to touch on things that maybe people didn't like, and it also kind of touches on that a little bit for me, but it's like on the edge. I think I can commend it for trying to tackle fat phobia.
Did it?
Eh,
They just spend. When does it do that? Because they spend most of the time just ridiculing her.
like I guess yeah, Candy is very confident in herself, but I'm not sure the book is trying to make a statement of it.
All of the Wonder Women, like all the women of like the Amazon, are like, "This is what man's world does to you. It bloats you." Like some people are just born that way. Are they not born that way on
Yeah,
this
but
island?
I feel like Candy is meant to represent, like, the, like, her confidence is supposed to be like, yeah, that is like how it's supposed to be, basically. And like the other Amazons are definitely supposed to be, essentially like the villains, the antagonists, they are supposed to be painted in a negative light about that opinion.
I guess I will say Candy does spend the entirety of her intro scene talking about food,
Mm, yeah.
but just like being like, "The hungry are hungry, you harpies."
Yeah. No,
Like
I'm not saying that it's perfectly well done. I'm commending it for what it at least kind of tried to
tried,
do. Yeah.
yeah.
Yes, yeah, it tried more than not at all, and I
Mhm.
suppose that's something worth admiring.
Yeah.
I guess.
Just change the body shape of a few of the people on the Amazon island. That's all you have to do.
There's no reason for them to all be like, like supermodel size. Like some of them could be like plus size. Like there's nothing that's
Yeah.
stopping that, I don't think.
There's no like, there's no weightlifting women. They're all
They're all, yeah, just
curvy,
sort of, yeah, like
curvy thin.
conventionally attractive. Yeah. It's just like
Mhm.
you could just make that not the case. Especially
Yeah.
because it's an Earth One story. Like you don't have to come up with a weird reason for it. Like just make that how it is.
Mhm.
It's definitely interesting. Candy definitely made it feel like I was in like a 2000s girl power movie.
Yeah, yeah. I
Get 'em, girls.
I will say when Jake, you said that 2016, I was like, you have to be just like throwing numbers out there, like this can't possibly be 2016, and then like it is. This
Oh,
was
well, that's funny because I was just pulling a random number out of my hat, but I'm glad I was right.
Yeah, I mean, I was more inclined to believe you because you sounded more sure that like Batman Earth 1 came out in 2012, but I was like, "Really? I feel like that was older, like I just felt like I'd, seen it like in a library when I was like young or whatever." But
See, I looked that up, and that's how I knew it was 2012.
right, right. Yeah. But then I was like, "Nah, this one couldn't be 2016." It just
And I knew it was after that, but honestly, like I thought it was more recent. But then I remembered like how little I've paid attention to comics in the last like 4 or 5 years. So,
yeah.
There's a volume 2 and a volume 3
Mhm.
as
oh
of
my
last
goodness,
year.
I don't want to get ahead of myself, and I don't think I'll read it.
Yeah.
Don't you want to hear her TED talk?
Oh yeah, her TEDx talk, yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Volume 2 is about the Nazis discovering Paradise Island to conquer it.
Oh, so another flashback kind of thing instead of actually having her fight crime in
Oh, maybe
2016?
that's what like they talked about with Hippolyta's trial comes from, even though that
Uh,
was only like 70 years before this. They talk about it being like a long time ago,
oh,
but who knows?
huh. Oh, okay. We said like, wait, was it 300, 3,000 years?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay,
30
yeah,
centuries.
right. Yeah, then that isn't a long time ago for them. I was gonna say if
Yeah.
it was 300, then I was like, yeah, that's a decent amount, but no.
I mean, like for at least what I know for Wonder Woman, there's not much else between like Hercules and then like World War One, World War Two that like happens that could affect Paradise Island.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I don't know. Like maybe if you get into like the Greek like magic kind of thing and people not believing in it or something.
Oh yeah, there could be like, Circe shows up or maybe something with the Peloponnesian War, I suppose.
Yeah. I don't know. Roman conquering, like, does that do anything? Or is that just man's world and they're cut off and it doesn't matter?
I think that's too close to man's world.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. Yeah. I guess, yeah, the Greek gods. Yeah. Anyway, we're getting into the weeds of things that wouldn't happen in this world anyway. I was like, well, maybe like the new gods. And then I was like, no. That's that'd be like more conventional DC universe, Earth 2, whatever.
I was confused on why they included Nazis in like volume 2, or like even this volume. They kind of alluded to it already. But by volume 2, it's because Wonder Woman's first adversary was, I guess, a Nazi sympathizer. I didn't know that.
Yeah, because back in the day, I want to say 1939? I don't know, somewhere in the war
1942.
period, they were, oh yeah, we said it earlier. Like a bunch of comics were just like buy war bonds advertisements. So I'm not surprised.
Yeah, just
the
like,
Nazis were the first big antagonist.
Yeah, just by virtue of being published in 1942 is just kind of the obvious villain for a kid's thing. Yeah. I'm trying to see if there's like anything. Oh wow, no, this wiki article does not have a synopsis for the first issue. Oh, it does say though there was 4 stories. Wonder Woman Goes to the Circus, Wonder Woman of History, Florence Nightingale, The Master Plan of Paula von Gunther, and The Greatest Feat of Daring in Human History. I wonder which one of those was about the Nazi.
Paula one?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably Paula von Gunther.
Sorry, I was being facetious.
Yeah. I can tell you where kangaroo comes from, though. Probably the circus one.
I don't know.
Why? Are you just saying she brings a kangaroo back from the circus?
Maybe it's something about like exploitation of animals. Because kangaroos used to be like a circus animal act. So maybe.
I think you're too grounded.
Yeah.
You're being too grounded.
It's
the next story is about Florence Nightingale in that collection.
Also, okay, that one is just about Florence Nightingale. It was like a thing that they were doing to like show off like real historical figures. It didn't actually have Wonder Woman in it.
Oh, Wonder Woman didn't show up to help Florence Nightingale?
No.
So I guess that's all the stuff we liked. What's some stuff we didn't like about this comic?
It was kind of boring.
Yeah, not a lot happens. We kind of already discussed is like it just kind of ends when it feels like we only got like kind of an issue's worth of story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's not a lot of tying it together like we talked about where Wonder Woman leaves hospital, saves sorority girls, comes back to hospital. Like, there's no Wonder Woman having a moment to herself to like go, I'm going to go back and ask questions. Like, there's no motivation sometimes that can be clearly seen for why things happen.
Yeah. And yeah, it was just like, you know, especially like, you know, we kind of discussed like, oh, well, what other things from like Wonder Woman lore, you know, were there? But like, I don't know. It seems like with Grant Morrison's reputation for tying things in from the greater DC universe and like, you know, different heroes' mythologies and stuff. He was really just kind of phoning it in this time. Like, I don't know. It's like this just seemed like his least impressive work that I've read. It was just like,
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure. I mean, having read through the panel like a lot more of Grant Morrison's work, this is definitely, yeah. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to bash Grant Morrison's work ethic. I'm sure he works very hard,
yeah.
but like, feels like he got phoned in a little bit.
Like they said, just, you know, all this is, you know, rewriting a modern version of Wonder Woman. And they said, all right, yeah.
Yeah, just like, you know, maybe sent in like a pretty finished script and then like just like didn't retouch it or something. I don't know, but like, it's not to say this feels like a first draft. Like, don't get me wrong. That's not what I'm saying. It's just like, I don't think this got a lot of extra work done.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it doesn't feel like, you know, there's a lot of passion putting this together.
Yeah.
I mean,
Possibly.
it feels like they came up with like her mom's motivations and Diana's kind of motivations. And they're like, okay, that's good. Now let's create some events and just had things happen
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
loosely connected.
Yeah. And I just like, I can't stop thinking also about the fact that it's like, we just don't get any of like she's still supposed to be a superhero. We just don't get really any of that. It feels like yeah, she takes
Gotta
down
fight though.
Medusa, I guess, but
Did she fight Medusa?
or no, I guess not.
I thought Medusa just walked off.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, you're right. They didn't actually. She just submitted um to the other Wonder Woman that got sent after her, and I guess yeah, either they corralled Medusa or yeah, she's just wandering around man's world.
She just sounds like a crazy old lady. But yeah, I like I said, I think there's literally like no actual fights with like
Yeah.
they just kind of talk it
Like,
out.
I don't know. The beginning of the book is technically a real fight when it's Hippolyta fighting Hercules. That is a real fight.
Yeah, but that's
As much as it
that's
is.
not with the main character.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, and not to like, you know, minimize Hippolyta as like a character, but like, you know, she is at first, you know, a victim, you know, she's not fighting for like, yeah, the greater good of people or anything like that.
Trying to survive at first.
Yeah. Just trying to survive. And then yeah, kills Hercules. And then it's like, all right, it's time.
Time for us to leave.
Yeah.
Is literally what she's like.
Yeah.
I will say, yeah, like as far as being superhero-esque, being a superhero origin story, like Diana's whole thing at the end is like, I'm not gonna be a warrior. I'm not gonna fight. It's time to go back to man's world and talk. She's gonna talk?
Yeah. I mean, what does she say? I gotta look now. It's like, she says that if there are fights, she'll like
Win them.
You'll fight, but you won't be a weapon.
right. Yeah.
Okay.
Which would like I do understand, and like even like kind of coming from the naive side, and also like she kind of knows like well, I don't know if she knows or not, but even if she was just gonna like talk away, it could be interesting to see her go from like I'm just gonna talk and everybody's gonna get along to like just no, you know, sometimes you gotta like, you know, fight people. A, because it's a comic. B, because sometimes people don't want to listen to you.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of the thing, right? Like Diana's supposed to be naive, but then she's like not wrong.
Yeah.
She's never wrong in this comic, is
Mm-hmm.
she? Like
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. Like the
she
only
comes back and she's like, "Mom, you told me not to do that, but here's why I did it." Her mom's like, "Damn it, you're right."
That's,
yeah, the only thing she learns is from simple misunderstandings.
And also walking into people's hospital rooms and being sad about things
Yeah.
that her mom kept from her, I guess. Oh yeah, her mom's magic mirror is the thing that's sending out the signal.
yeah.
Forgot about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Her weird
Why?
TV mirror.
I was about to say maybe this is less of an origin story and more of like a coming of age kind of thing, but then I was like, no, even that isn't quite right. Like she still doesn't really, you know, grow out of her naivete as much. I don't know. Yeah, you don't get that sense because, yeah, she doesn't realize in what ways she was wrong because she wasn't wrong. And yeah.
Unfulfilling arc.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
obviously by just getting to the end page and being like, "Oh, okay,
Yeah.
the
Like
end."
I guess that's it.
Yeah, I did read this all, like I think either Sunday or Monday. And I almost asked you, I was like, do we want to read like a second volume or something? And then I didn't, but
Yeah, no, that's fair because I probably wouldn't have wanted to.
yeah. um, yeah, so I was just like, yeah, it was unfulfilling. And I'm not sure that reading volume 2 would have been like, this is like the complete, arc. Because, yeah, the thing is that, like, even with an unfulfilled arc, I still don't see exactly what there is for Diana to learn or grow from. Nothing's really been established. It's just these are the events that happened.
Yeah, it's a little odd how they set that up. Like, we talked about at the top of the show. It's like it's kind of confusing how stuff is laid out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't know if like Morrison is like I mean, obviously they're kind of like using the format of like, Greek legend of like, like the Odyssey, it has like a framing device where it's being retold within the story.
God, you're right. I hate that like could be a reasonable way for it to be like, this is why we did it.
Oh yeah, totally. Um but yeah, I don't
So
know.
funny. Like the severity of events never feels that severe because I guess most things just don't really feel like they have consequences. Like if the army attacks, we're gonna be fine because our magic island.
Mm,
Um, like there's no consequences for most of the things. Like Steve Trevor gets Medusa'd, turned to stone. It's fine. Purple Ray.
mm-hmm.
We'll fix it. We'll fix everybody. Everybody will be fine. All cool. Um, just the beginning of the story, like there's so many parts where it's like unintentionally funny to me because it's so ridiculous where people are reacting as if like you murdered someone. Like, Diana, what is that on your face? She's just like smearing her lipstick. She's like, how could you do this to us? Like,
Yeah,
Nubia, calm down.
that's the other thing that made it seem like much older than it was. Like just like this like anti, like makeup, which I'm like,
I get they're like old timey, but like even back then they had old timey makeup
mm-hmm.
for like people to use.
Yeah.
Like, it shouldn't be that weird.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's supposed to be more like natural. We love natural stuff. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
Natural beauty.
I get what it's saying, you know, but at the same time, it's like I needed a little bit more, like context. I feel like.
I mean, they just act like she murdered someone.
Yeah. It's just lip
And then
sync.
for her mom to be like, I'm gonna step down and die, which is like really intense. And they're like, no, no, you aren't. She's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a bit of a dramatic move where it's like, all right, I've been found out. Now it's time for me to die. Oh, you don't want me to die? I suppose I'll live.
Okay. Also, I mean, I think we already said that this was gonna be interesting coming into it. There's just a lot of talk of bondage.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did talk about that before because, like, the original creator was let's say a fan of bondage. Uh, but it's there's a lot in here, and also like all like the artist traditions of like when Diana is submitting to loving authority. It's like, man, why'd you draw her like that? Why'd you do that?
Yeah.
Do you mean her pose, her expression?
The pose.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's some interesting poses in this book in general.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'll say that it's not as bad as I feel like I was told it was.
Well, that's kind of the
That
thing.
was weird.
I'm not gonna say like I want it to be more obvious, but they're kind of like this, like, oh, you're a bondage island, kind of like what one of the girls says is like a joke. But I'm like, eh, I mean, this just sounds like an honor society. Like, I don't know. Not
Yeah.
honor society, but like
What
a
do you mean?
society, like an honor-based society where it's like, oh, is it, you know, showing submission or whatever. But like every time they're like, yeah, submit, and they're like, wink. I'm like, wait, are you saying something more? I don't know. It just seemed like they said like bondage, and then what? I don't know. Is this what bondage is? All of it?
No.
I'm not saying I want more. I'm just saying it's like.
No, I know what you're saying. Yeah, it is kind of like they had multiple instances of like, with like the rope wrapped around, for like, obviously the lasso of truth, and then the chains on her because, she was imprisoned or whatever. And of course, and then the big thing though was the collar incident, and that was,
yeah, I'll give them the collar incident.
Yeah.
But like most of the time, it seems like they're making a bigger deal out of things than they could have been.
Yeah. It's like basically somebody.
Guess all my stories that I've read have bondage in them. I didn't know this. I guess the once you submit to a higher authority, it's just bondage now.
Yeah, it's like, it's kind of like basically because like we have confirmation that like the old Wonder Woman comics had some of that in them, and then like it's looking at that and being like, oh, well, it's obvious. And it's like, well, no, it's not obvious because people obviously didn't know. Otherwise, they wouldn't have their kid reading them, if they were like, they cared about that, and I'm sure that people in the 40s would have. So, yeah.
The man was ahead of his time.
Yeah, but I mean, like, what I'm saying though is that, like, yeah, it does feel like Morrison is kind of just all like, well, duh, all of this, like, iconography is like bondage stuff, and like everybody that's in that world would realize, since we're writing them more like modern and more knowing and stuff like that. It's like, it's still like pretty subtle. You gotta go a little bit harder,
Yeah, I'm not saying I want more.
Well, I know you said that. You said
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I'm just
I said
agreeing
that right.
with you
But
and
man,
elaborating a little
they
bit.
sure like, yeah, they sure like pointing at it, I guess,
Yeah.
like bondage.
Mm-hmm. Um, I don't know. I could even like there's Uncanny X-Men where Chris Claremont put Charles Xavier in like more like bondage gear.
Okay.
It was
Man,
like
comics are weird.
comics
Why
are
are
weird
comics like this?
because like pretty much everybody was all like, "Hey, I can just like not very subtly like, you know, explore my kink in this in this medium."
I mean, I guess I can't stop them. It's too late now.
Yeah.
Because comics is about using your imagination.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, not your imagination.
No. uh, wait, I can get paid for this? Anyway, sorry. Other things I didn't like. I feel like we kind of like, yeah, it was like we talked about it being feeling incomplete and the character motivations not feeling like totally there. I mean,
Hard to generalize
yeah.
or like put it all together. It's just like a series of like weird character interactions.
Mm-hmm.
It almost never feels natural, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely never feels natural, and it just, yeah, feels very, well, artificial, which I guess is just the same way of saying the same thing. Yeah, or a different way of saying the same thing, but yeah.
What's the point of Candy?
Oh yeah, I have no idea.
I think she's just like a character from old, because I think she's at least some version of her is present in the movies. So I think she's just like a character who's like in the Wonder Woman mythology.
Huh.
Best friend. Etta Candy.
Yeah, so I guess she's just around. I mean, it's just like Steve Trevor. She's like he's just kind of like, you know, he's the guy who discovers Paradise Island. It's always Steve Trevor.
Huh. You know, actually, I'll say too, I'm a little disappointed that there was no references to the Wonder Woman TV show.
Oh yeah, no, like spinning around to change her costume. Yeah, that would have been something.
Yeah.
I guess yeah, looking back on it now, it's like it's surprising like we get so much from like super early comics, but not like where most people probably know Wonder Woman from is from the TV show.
Mm-hmm.
Not even a thrown tiara. Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Etta Candy's a sickly, malnourished woman Wonder Woman discovers at a local hospital. When next seen, Etta is transformed into a spirited, rotund young woman who has a great love of candy.
So is this like a case of like normative determinism, or is it like Candy a nickname?
When Wonder Woman asks about her new body type, Etta tells her she was rejuvenated by eating many sweets.
Is this old timey like sugar propaganda where it's like, oh yeah, if you're unhealthy, just have more sugar?
I mean, it's the golden age, but
Yeah, it's literally 1946. There's gotta be of course her catchphrase is woo woo, as we learned in that comic we just read.
That tracks, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was always in a sorority. And aiding Wonder Woman in her adventures.
Oh no. Third
her
paragraph. Yep.
Right her father, hard candy, and her mother, sugar candy.
So what is normative determinism? Their daughter Candy.
Well, I mean, their
her
last
brother,
name
Mint
is Candy.
Her boyfriend, Oscar Sweet Gulper.
Oh, that seems...
That's a bad name.
Also, considering, like, like, we're talking about normative determinism, I'm like, that seems inappropriate.
did you see the next sentence after that?
No, I
She
didn't.
was shown to be brave and even stormed a Nazi concentration camp armed with nothing but a box of candy to rescue captured children.
Whoa.
Ooh, that's a bit of a step there.
Yeah.
Amazing. Interesting.
Wow, what a character.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, once you learn a lot more of this stuff, you kind of like, oh, they're kind of trying to shove everything together, huh?
Yeah.
Seems a little sus.
Yeah, it makes a lot more sense now for sure. It's just like, yeah, just because, like, I mean, like we said when we explained Earth 1 at the beginning, this is supposed to be like kind of a starting point, right? And it's like, well, no, this is like a cameo, like, kind of like, hey, look, the history already. Isn't this fun? Right? And that's a different thing, I feel like.
Yeah.
It's interesting that she's not called Etta Candy.
Yeah.
Is that a pun?
Maybe Ida Candy?
Ada
Etta
Candy. Yeah,
Candy. Close.
it could be.
I mean, some people are
I
just named
wouldn't.
Etta, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, sure. Yeah, it is definitely the most natural name in comparison to Mint and Hard.
And
Yeah,
sugar.
And
yeah.
Sugar.
Etta,
Well,
yeah.
actually,
it's,
sugar is a name some people might give somebody.
what's the name for when you like scramble the letters around in a word?
Anagram.
Yeah, anagram of 8. So,
Had to do 2 T's though.
oh, is it?
Yeah.
So it's ETTA.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, you
Never
can't have
mind.
one T. That'd be so weird.
That'd be weird.
It would be too on the nose. Then we'd see the anagram. We'd be like,
Because the 40s were known for their subtlety.
I mean,
Anyway.
she helps Wonder Woman take over the Nazi base of Dr. Poison. So, it's just comics. It's
yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Poison.
Dr.
Yeah.
Poison.
He was in the first movie, right? The mustard gas. Well, it was a lady though. They gender swapped. Yeah,
I think it was in the comics too, but I might be wrong on that.
maybe. I can't remember. Anyway, doesn't matter.
Yeah, we still got to talk about this book.
Yeah.
Just all of it, like we said, makes a lot more sense. Trying to include everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, so now I'm assuming Steve Trevor is a common occurrence too.
Oh yeah, he's definitely like, he is what, inspires Wonder Woman to leave Paradise Island, basically. He crashed, like, I mean, how it is in this story, he crash lands on the island and she saves him from dying, and then basically her mom is like, hey, men aren't supposed to be here and you're not supposed to be around them. And then she's like, no, I want to know about the world outside. And then she goes.
See, I'm a perfect test audience. I haven't watched any of those movies. I just remember that there's some dude, probably named Steve Trevor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he gets played by Chris Pine in the movie.
One of the Chris's.
Yeah. They do it weird in the TV show though, because it's like because they still want to keep her like World War II origin. So it's like the first Steve Trevor is World War II veteran, but then like the TV show like takes place in more like modern times. So it's like his like son or grandson or something.
Yeah, that's never weird.
Yeah.
It's less weird than the second movie, but we don't have to talk about that.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that I like read what this next volume from this is, I mean, we've already said there's no clear arc, so there's kind of no clear direction where it would go from here.
Mm-hmm.
So she's gonna save the world? Question mark.
Yeah. Is she gonna like install purple rays in all hospitals?
If only we had purple rays.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say I don't think purple rays can save you if you've already died.
Yes.
So
Then she'd install them in every morgue.
to heal the dead.
Well, you just said. I'm sorry. I'm saying install them in every hospital for people who are either dying or like, just have normal injuries.
They really, man, the whole thing was about nothing ever changes, nobody dies. Oh man, people are dying here. And okay, they did have somebody die. They had like an old lady die while holding Diana's hand.
Yeah.
And she just leaves. She's kind of upset about it, and she leaves.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
like they really could have had such a like significant effect on her if somebody actually important died.
Yeah.
Like actually having to face that.
I don't know, if we don't meet that many characters who are important in this, though.
Right. Yeah. I was just
Well, they're
thinking
all
about that.
important, but important for continuity. We need these characters to stay alive.
Yeah. I was just thinking about that. I was like, well, you can't kill Steve Trevor because they're like supposed to be like romantic or something. And then also like, I just feel like he didn't get enough time. He was like sick in bed and then he was a statue.
Stoned.
Yeah, he's stoned. um and then I was like, kill Candy? And I was like, that just feels wrong though. Like, I don't know. Like, she would be the next best option, but also like how is that inspiring or interesting?
I mean, I guess does nobody die in Wonder Woman's origin story?
I don't think so.
Yeah, so just following her origin story, right? Like,
Yeah.
not like Batman.
Yeah, that's true. I guess that's a good point. Man, I'm feeling like I have an order of comics to pick for when it's my turn, but I'm like, I've heard that the George Perez Wonder Woman is very good, not a lot better. It's older.
Restarting like the Wonder Woman arc of the comic panel. Is that
I
where we're
don't know.
going?
I'm just saying. I'm like, I have to see something better than this.
I want to see a compelling Wonder Woman story.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can understand that.
I don't know if it'll be my next pick. I'm not making any official announcement, but
we already know what my next pick is.
wait.
Okay.
Anyway.
Yeah, you feel like we summarized pretty good?
Yeah.
It just kind of falls under very incomplete story and very weird, unnatural story.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does feel like this is something you would pick up if it was much shorter on like a free comic book day. Where it's like, here is like the very basics of this character, and then come by in like December and pick up the first real issue.
That moment where the army is like talking to Steve Trevor and they're like, you're going to tell us the truth, right? Usually we use a truth serum on people, but that won't affect you because you're strong against psycho drugs.
Yeah.
I don't remember what term they use.
Yeah.
So I was like, what does that mean?
I mean,
have they tried to use a truth serum on him already?
I think like basically he's supposed to be like, if he ever gets taken by an enemy, they can't use any sort of similar drugs or other methods to like, reveal state secrets because he knows so many.
I guess that is useful. But also, they had to find that out.
Yeah.
Poor Steve Trevor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I think that's pretty much it. So I guess we'll talk about the art.
Yeah.
Which
I mean, we already started talking about it.
Yeah.
The art's fine. I mean, I say that about a lot of stuff, but like it's fine. I don't love some of the facial expressions, but they're all different from each other.
It's very pin-up art.
Yeah.
It makes me think of Adam Hughes, who does all those covers.
Yeah, it's a kind of interesting. a little different kind of style, especially looking at some of the sketches in the back. Like I like the use of a lot of bright different colors. It's interesting. I just don't love some of the poses and anatomy. It's like I don't think it's bad. It's just I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
Wonder Woman's expression so often is really weird and pouty,
Yes.
and it does not express properly. It's very weird.
Yeah. And they use like a thick implement for inking, I don't know if this was, well, it was probably digitally inked, but still it's like, I don't know, if you look at the details on like a lot of people's faces, I'm like, why is it like that? Usually use like for finer details, obviously a finer tip, and I just feel like there's a lot of like kind of thick lines.
I mean, it's a style.
Yeah, it is a style.
I
That's
I
I'm
don't
not
mind it,
Yeah, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's maybe not for me.
but
Also,
it is interesting. So they do a lot of dark shadows with, like you were saying, thick lines.
mhm, yeah. Um Actually, yeah, on the point of like, pinup style too, sometimes it reminds me of Greg Land too, which if you don't remember, Ultimate Fantastic Four is what we read for the show. And he did the art for
So
that.
is that the one where they look like they're from People magazine half the
Yeah.
time?
Uh-huh.
Okay, this one at least looks like somebody drew it and didn't trace it off of People
Yeah,
magazine.
yeah, that's true. But every once in a while I get some of those faces and I'm like, oh, that's like, it's almost even like more disconcerting because it seems like truly out of nowhere.
Yeah, I guess just expressions not matching up with how I think a character should feel. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
times, like going back to that again, the purple ray, Diana doing that purple ray that, like, not to mention, I forgot that Steve Trevor is screaming in pain in that scene.
Yeah.
And looks like she's having the time of her life. Uh,
Also, I didn't really care for a lot of the more creative uses of the panel layout.
yeah,
Like,
it was too much, especially with Medusa. When Medusa shows up, all
mm-hmm.
those weird little scales they do
Yeah.
are so weird.
Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, it's trying to be all like, yeah, we've got like, patchy, molting skin scales. But like, yeah, the thing is that Medusa isn't featured as like, like we said, she doesn't fight Medusa. So it's like, we don't really get to see her and it doesn't really matter. We don't get any, what's the word? Like,
Real payoff, right?
payoff. Yes, that's exactly what I was looking for. Payoff.
Okay.
Sorry, I was really blanking. But yeah, there's no payoff for using that effect. But
He
yeah,
literally just leaves through the hotel front door.
hmm yeah. I mean, I will say when they use like the lasso of truth as like a border, it is very apparent that that is the time when they are jumping back to the present in the trial. When it's like more of a close up that they're doing and they're not going to do like details that also make it obvious. But yeah, there's
Yeah,
also like random stars sometimes, and it's like,
I
wait,
was literally about to bring that up. I was like, okay, so yeah, they just too often they're trying to do something unique for like every single page to the point where it feels disjointed. Yeah.
yeah,
Not to mention the story's already very disjointed, going
mm-hmm,
back and forth.
yeah, yeah. I don't know if there's anything else that like particularly, I liked or bothered me. about the
Like
art?
you said, I didn't think about too much at the time, but it's very clear that it's digital because like you have scenes where just space needs to be filled, so they use like the standard stamp
Mm.
of like cross-hatching, and you can just tell they just went like scribbled across the page, but like, okay, cross-hatched. Nice. We have something to fill the space.
Mm. Oh yeah, I see that like with the bus crash, yeah, in the sky.
Yeah, they don't do it super often, but when they do it, it's like so obvious that
Yeah.
it's not very pleasing to look at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also, actually, I'm real quick gonna go back to that scales because I'm really looking at it, and it's like also just the effect in general is not very good.
Yeah, it's just a stamp.
Yeah.
They literally just
Mm-hmm.
fill in space.
Yeah.
So it feels very lazy in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
Like the actual draftsmanship is really good, but then the finish and like I guess color wise, and then I don't want to say line art because I actually like the thick line art.
Mm.
I think if the expressions were done differently in the pencils, the line art could have just worked decent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see that. I could see myself maybe liking it. It might be the other things that are like kind of just too weird that I'm like, oh, this is also different and therefore weird because everything else is weird. But I don't know. It's tough to say. But yeah. I think that's
Make digital effects. I think that's it.
yeah. um so interested in going back for volume 2 and 3. No. Yeah. Me neither.
I'm so curious about where it goes. I
I
think I
wouldn't
just
hate
want to
it
read
if
a
we read it.
Yeah.
I think I just want to read a proper Wonder Woman origin story, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, wow, I can really see where like that's like we said, cool motivations of like you were meant for war, but now I love you as a child.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and maybe that would be kind of interesting to read in volume 2 of like, seeing more of Hippolyta's like rage, and then that rage like being like, I don't know what to do now. Like,
I already know that the main problem is outside forces now, right?
yeah.
Like they've taken care of all their internal struggles, most likely.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. We'd just have to see, I guess, but um
Is it bad if the book makes me want to read a different book about the same character?
kind of,
Or
but
is that the point of this?
I mean, it's the point, but not in the way that you experienced it.
yeah. I would say I agree though. I also want to read some other Wonder Woman. um but yeah.
The gods, he did it.
Yeah. This is the real Grant Morrison magic.
So underwhelming. You require more.
Yeah. Um yeah, but I think any final thoughts on the book? I'll say that like I kind of appreciated that it was such a fast read.
That was a nice change.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we haven't read that many super long books, but I mean, it was nice for it to be kind of just short, sweet, tell the story you want and kind of be done. It didn't feel padded.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Say, despite the fact that we talked about how, it goes back and forth like future, past, wasn't too confusing. Like I understood right away when it was going back to the past and what was currently happening, even if I didn't totally understand the stakes of each part.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
It's hard to do passage of time properly.
Yeah. They don't establish any consequences before the trial, right?
No, it's unclear what the trial is like for. Because,
Mm-hmm.
like, what are they going to do? Banish her from Paradise Island? That's what she wants.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, okay, they don't establish it beforehand, but they do. I mean, if her mom dies, then she's forced to become a queen and can never leave, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, okay, that was dangled there for a moment, and
Mm-hmm.
don't worry about
Yeah. I did okay, yeah. I'll say kind of last thing. I did kind of like, just that was one moment of like both dramatic tension and also like good character moment actually between Diana and her mom, where it was like, she's just doing this on purpose to get at me. Like,
it. My mom's going to go and die a natural life just to get back at me.
yeah, so that I can never leave. Just like somehow that felt like the most like real thing.
Yeah.
I think that's because the entirety of the story did not have anything that was like anywhere close to that.
Yeah. Um,
Would you come here?
but yeah, I think this is just like, yeah, pretty okay.
Yeah, it's a
Maybe.
very, like, middle of the road, like, 6 out of 10. Like, it's not awful. I mean, like, if you were interested, like, this isn't a bad place to start as far as Wonder Woman goes.
Yeah.
Like,
I
I'm sure there is worse Wonder Woman content out there.
oh, definitely. Uh 1970s where they strip her powers.
Oh, yeah, they just make her, yeah, like, just a kung fu woman. Yeah.
Yeah. Kung Fu Spy Woman. Anyway.
But yeah, it's not awful.
Mhm.
We've read worse.
Definitely.
Actually,
Um
what a glowing review, honestly.
yeah. You know
There's
some
very little that we like glowingly review though.
yeah.
It is a very mid story.
Yeah. Um and I'll reiterate too, probably my least favorite Grant Morrison. So if you're trying to start with Grant Morrison, I'm like, either do and then look forward to how much better it gets, or don't. Do something better with your time. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all we have for this book. Thanks for listening. This has been the Comic Panel. I'm Cody,
I'm Jacob.
I'm Shawenta.
and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening. If you like this episode, be sure to subscribe to this channel as it helps us out on the YouTube algorithms and getting us seen by more and more people. You can also reach out to us with any thoughts you have on the things we talk about on Twitter at TheComicPanel1 and on Instagram and Facebook at The Comic Panel. Also, if you want to leave a comment, please do. Let us continue the conversation.